Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am your host once more, Zagdilla, and my co-host.
Co-host, okay. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Tonight I am joined by my co-host.
Zagdilla, sorry.
And y'all know who this is, squeeezeme. Tonight we are drinking Coke Zero and rum. Well, I am at least.
I'm in the holiday spirit with the same thing.
We got this. And tonight we're going to be talking about the third episode of Euphoria. There's a lot to unpack.
Lot happened, yes. So I realized that there was so much going on that I was going to forget. So I went ahead and made like some bullet points about the major plot points. So we're going to go ahead and get into it because there's so much to discuss.
Yeah.
Gay love story between Cal and his high school best friend. I can't remember if it was high school best friend strictly or like, lifelong best friend. That was beautiful.
Yes.
That was very sad. Like for the first half of the story, I was like, this is just your average little BS gay, rom-com-y kind of thing. And then the end of that outcome where it's like he got the call.
Yes.
I was like, oh my god, like that really sucks.
I wasn't expecting that at all. At all.
Like I knew that it was coming, but I didn't expect it to happen the night after.
I was also surprised that they decided to throw in his story on the for the third episode, which I really appreciate because now we get to understand Cal a little more. I also think that because of this and how, like Zogdilla said, it's pretty sad to see how it ends. And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the third episode, just don't watch this. I think that a big part of it is the fact that, or the way that it ends, just impacts Cal for the rest of his life, which is so sad.
I mean, I've seen, I wouldn't say a whole lot of LGBTQ movies, but I have seen a fair bunch, and they all kind of end the same way. They end on a sad note, where it's like a breakup or a death, which is pretty realistic and true to life. But I personally have not seen an ending like this, which is also extremely realistic. It happens to a lot of men.
Absolutely.
They end up impregnating someone. And it's not only true. It's not only true for gay men. It's also true for straight men. They feel entrapped by the binds of like a kid and a girl they probably weren't even that into. All right, so that was really cool.
I think what also was striking about that whole story was that Derek takes Cal to a gay bar, and they let loose at the gay bar. They get away, they go and celebrate on their own, and then they let their love loose at the gay bar, which honestly it was very, very beautiful to see. And obviously we had already had snippets of Cal just kind of eyeing Derek and looking at him differently, but it was just one of those things that they had to get away in order for them to actually show their true emotions, which just again sad, but it's very realistic.
It is, and I think that's the credit to this show. The credit to A24 is that if you are an SHITTY actor, you're not making the cut. Like you can't be in. The acting was extremely well done.
Absolutely.
So moving it along, we're trying to not make this go on for 30 minutes, so bear with us, guys. So the next one I have is that we finally get to see more of Rue and Jules. We've been waiting.
Yes.
I mean, it's like, finally.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell me how you feel about that.
I love it. It's weird to see Rue interacting with Jules in a romantic way. Yes, we've known for a long time that Rue has been in love or is in love with Jules, but it's very strange to still see her come out of her shell and be romantic with Jules. I'm here for it. I love it. It'll be interesting to see where this goes because there's a lot of things up in the air.
Even though it felt a little abrupt for me in the very first episode that they were like back together again, this time it felt earned because we did get some hints at their relationship the last episode. Side note, guys, I had a lot of personal things going on in my life last week with the second episode. That episode was amazing, 10 out of 10 for me. Unfortunately, we might be able to record someday of a one for that gap that we had. But yeah, so that's why we're doing episode 3 and we kind of skipped over episode 2. But episode 2, we got hints of the relationship they had going on, and so this felt earned. It didn't seem out of nowhere. It seemed natural. I was very happy to see that come back.
Sure, it's still a little bit. Sorry to cut you off, but it's still a little bit upsetting to see Rue throw whatever they have going on right now because she has already relapsed, and Of course, Jules doesn't know this, and it's a little bit, um, saddening to see what she's doing. But anyways, I'm here for it. I love it. I think that they're great actresses. Great.
Of course, amazing. So the next one is it I can't remember. Is it Cassie or Casey?
Cassie.
Cassie,
So,
right?
side
Okay.
note, before we start this whole situation, when we did our reaction to the first season of Euphoria and the second season of Euphoria, I talked about how Cassie was one of my favorites, and she was just kind of off to the side, and she was the popular one, but she had all these things going on. I am living for the fact that Cassie is like, has taken over the main stage. I love it. I mean,
She's
obviously there's a
definitely.
lot of things going on, but
Yeah. That's a really good point about last episode as well. Is that it was a breakneck speed episode. Like I had to catch my breath sometimes. I felt like I needed to pause
right,
it.
right,
But it's excellent that it seems like the screen time for every character is a little more distributed evenly.
yes,
I think last season it's like everyone got their own episode more.
yeah,
This time it's like everyone's in each episode, so that's great. So the quick little note I wanted to make about Cassie is that little like I forget what you call it. It's like a dream sequence in a way where they give you this like shocker where she's revealing like in the bathroom she's like I love Nate and fuck what anyone thinks blah blah
right,
blah. And then I like that they didn't do the really tacky and cliche little like rewind of time and say oh that didn't happen. It was just like what she really did was just stare into the mirror
right,
and that's that.
right.
So any thoughts on that? Or
How do you feel about that whole situation?
I kind of wish that they had run with that because that would have brought on a lot of drama and a
Right,
lot of Maddie and them going neck and neck, Maddie and Cassie going neck and
right,
neck. But in terms of the entire love triangle, I think that's a lot to unpack. We can talk about that for quite a while.
sure.
But I know Maddie and Nate are not good for each other. It's really toxic.
No, they're not in love.
But
They're not in love with each other either. So,
right, and but what Cassie is putting herself through, it's messed up.
oh yeah,
For sure.
my baby Cassie.
Okay, and another quick little note is that we got to see a lot more of I forget his name. I keep missing his name. The new cute guy that's like involved with
It's not
Rue.
Elliot, is it? Oof.
It might be Elliot. Everyone knows what we're talking about. We finally got to see more of him interact and just like be a person, be and like actually act as a character. And he
Right.
seemed extremely charming, really
Yes.
suave, really chill, really interesting. So I'm excited that it's not just like another random love triangle person.
Right.
Like he has his own personality. I can definitely
Sure.
see his own story arc, and I'm invested in his story arc. So, any thoughts about that? Or
Yeah. I'm excited to see what comes out of that whole situation. I'm excited to see how Jules reacts to, him kind of getting, and I don't want to blame this on him, but getting Rue back into drugs and things like that. So yeah, I'm excited for that.
yeah, that's really cool. Okay, this part, and I can go ahead and because there have been some shocker moments already that we've discussed. I think that there generally is not a whole lot of violence in Euphoria. So
Well, this season
Cal's
has been pretty violent in
yeah
comparison
yeah
to.
yeah Cal's suicide
Hmm.
again. It was one of those dream sequence things. Was could feel a little cheap, but this one was so shocking to me that I just like screamed because I was not expecting that at
Right.
all.
Right.
So how did you react to that? Did you see it
Um.
coming? Did you know it was a dream sequence?
Yeah, because we know how he is, and we know because of Nate just how they've been raised. They just don't, shy away from their problems. So yes, it was shocking, but at the same time, I wasn't like whoa,
Okay,
like it was
gotcha.
one of those things that for me was like okay, he's thinking about all these possibilities if this disc ever gets out, but it's not something that he would actually go through with, at least for
Right,
me.
right, right.
Yeah,
Of course, of course. I guess it was more like the imagery, the shock value of the imagery. It was so like, oh,
right,
not expected. And so on that note, and forgive me guys if I sound a little cheesy, and any show, Game of Thrones has set the standard for every show going on from here on out for the rest of time, probably in terms of shock value, things you don't expect. They come out of nowhere and make you go like, wow, you
right,
know. So Cassie's reveal that she was going to tell everyone what was actually going on. Cal's suicide attempt. Again another dream sequence kind of thing, and then a couple other things we're going to talk about in a moment. That felt really like Game of Thronesy to me, in the sense that it was just like so unexpected and so shocking, and I was just like, wow. So anyway, that's kind of my thoughts about that. And I think that's what makes the show interesting, more so than last season, I think. Because you can literally be just having a thing at dinner and you don't know whether the show is gonna throw an asshole at you, like an actual literal asshole at you,
Right.
or like someone
Anything can be expected at this point when it comes to this show. So yes, I agree.
It's amazing. Let's see. The drug lady, the kingpin, the teacher.
Yes. Is she a teacher?
Yeah, she was. She was a teacher.
Oh,
She's not
shit.
currently a teacher. She's a
missed that.
former school teacher. And the whole time I was like, she's kind of like a comedic relief character, like one of those characters that are super awkward and just there for
Right.
that. But once Rue was leaving away with her new bag, her new luggage of drugs, when she called her around, she was like, "I will basically get you sold to really awful people, and I will find a way to get my money back." That's when I realized that this character was not there for comedic relief
Right.
exclusively. Like
Right.
she was terrifying. Like I was
Right.
like, oh shit, like leave me alone, lady.
Those are the kind of people that and I think that's why they do it. You're not expecting her to be,
Yeah.
the kingpin, but I mean, at the same time, it's one of those things that's like, damn, she's not playing around. Rue thinks it's a game. Right now, I think that up until that point, I think she saw it as a game, because in her mind, she's probably like, what the hell are they gonna do to me? But after this, she even herself, like her face expression just completely changed, because it's like, this isn't a fucking game. Like, like, get it together.
Yeah. While we're on the note of Rue potentially dying, I call this now. I think the show is teasing her death. Like the very last few shots of last season, she basically died. They keep putting her in situations where she might die.
Right.
She's a drug addict. She's going to overdose and kill herself at any moment. I think that towards the end of the whole entire series, who knows how many seasons in the future that might be, I predict that we will lose Rue, because it's an HBO show. It always ends in some, miserable situation.
Right.
So
Just look at 6 Feet Under and how they ended that, which was the most.
Would not be surprised at all if they kill Rue off.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
Okay.
But I mean, that would probably be the end of Euphoria, no?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Like that would be the very. Damn. Yeah. Okay. I hadn't thought about that, actually. That's a very interesting point.
I'm trying to maybe skip through some of these that aren't too relevant. Yeah, we can go ahead and skip out to the very last point I wanted to make, is Maddie and Nate, the final few shots. That I was like, no.
Well, we already know why he's going back to Maddie. Well, we already know why he's going back to Maddie. He needs that disc. And the fact that Cal visited what's his name? FaZe?
Bruh.
It's not FaZe.
Fez.
Fez. Oh my god. I just saw this fucking show like 2 minutes ago. Like, excuse me.
And he's one of the most breakout stars.
I know. Oh my god. I'm old. The fact that Cal goes to go see travels to see Fez, and Fez is like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't know. I have no idea about a disc. And Cal realizes that, Nate was doing that on purpose. Like, Nate is definitely lying, because I also think that Nate doesn't want Maddie to be at his father's mercy. But he kind of, endangered his dad, sending him to Fez and Ash. And Ash is such a badass. I love him.
Yeah,
but, obviously Nate needs this fucking disc back ASAP. So that's the whole issue with him and Maddie. I don't even think he loves Cassie, bringing a little bit of Cassie back into it. I don't really think he loves Cassie. He's just like his dad. They are, they use, abuse, and, get rid of stuff. And I think that's exactly what's going on here. He knows that Maddie is toxic for him, but he definitely needs Maddie right now, and he needs that fucking disc. So
absolutely. Yep. I didn't even make that connection. I mean, maybe I looked at my phone making notes for a split second and missed that.
It was and to me it hit me, because that was one of those moments where it was like, oh shit, like Nate is actually doing this on purpose. Because when he's having that conversation with Cal, he closes the door, tells him that he doesn't want mom to hear, and then when Cal goes and is like parked outside their house, outside of Fez's house, and they bring him in, he's like, I made a mistake, and he kind of confesses to someone that just beat up his son. And then we have this whole thing where it's like, I don't know anything about a disc. I don't care about your situation. just keep your son out of this. And then we don't see Cal, we don't see any interactions with Nate, and then we see Nate going back to Maddie with flowers.
That makes sense.
So
I definitely missed that.
That was yeah.
And it's a credit to the show because you can look at your phone for the 5 seconds it took me to write out a 4-word paragraph or 4-word sentence, and I missed something very crucial.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think absolutely. It's one of those things that the show is great. You can't be on your phone. It's one of those things that you can't just be. You have to pay attention. There's so many things going on. There's so many things that are missable. You saw the show 2 times, the first season, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did too, because there was a lot of things I felt like I missed on the first watch. So yeah, it's one of those shows.
And it's worth a second watch.
Absolutely.
The show is worth a second watch.
Absolutely.
The absolute final point that we're going to make here to wrap things up, and thank you guys if you made it to the end of this video. Yep. We really much appreciate it. The final thing I was going to point out is that this episode felt the most like the season 1 vibe. It wasn't a breakneck speed. We had so much of Rue. It had a steady pace, and it felt a lot like season 1 to me. What do you think?
I agree. It felt a lot like season 1, but I actually really enjoy the speed of the first episode and the second episode. There's a lot going on, and it's and I also appreciate the fact that it's slowing down, because a lot of it, my heart can't take it. Like, there's too much going on. Like, I'm gonna die at this point. But right, I'm like, oh my god, like I need to pause this. I need to take a break. There's too many things going on. But
so that's why to me it felt really special to kind of go back to the season 1 vibe.
Yeah.
And I know we're probably not gonna stay at this pace, but it's nice to, 3 weeks in, 3rd episode in, we can take a breather.
Absolutely.
And then they throw Cal killing himself into the mix. Yeah. All right. So, any final thoughts? Anything you wanted to share?
I love Euphoria. I love everything that's going on, and I'm excited to see what else happens this season.
Me too. I did not expect the writer and directors, a single person, to pull off something as good or maybe even greater than the first season.
Mm-hmm.
So far, this, in my opinion, is proving to be. They're both so top-notch, top-tier. So far this season, I feel like this is on par, if not maybe even a little better. For certain reasons, they both have their own qualities.
I agree.
They're both amazing, but this one I'm feeling this vibe for sure.
There's so many talented people working on Euphoria, honestly, at this point, and it's showing. It's one of those things that I agree with you. I wasn't expecting season 2 to be this intense, because it's very intense. It's very heavy. It's like I love watching it, but I need a break, because it's like, holy shit, I need to process everything. But yeah, I absolutely agree. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as season 1, and it's turning out to be maybe a little better for me, at least. Sometimes season 1 felt like it was too slow, and now this is like, it started off like whoop, and now we're coming down a little bit. So yeah, I agree with you 100%.
A welcome break.
Yeah.
If you guys have already made it to this point of the video, just hang on for 2 more minutes. I did want to share this because it's in my notes.
Sure.
I might get canceled, but it's just an opinion, guys. Acknowledge that. I could be wrong. I feel like Zendaya. Let me preface before I tell you how I feel. I feel like Zendaya's acting the first season, the thing that got her the Emmy win, not only a nomination but a win, the youngest actress ever to win that category, was that her acting the first season was so subtle and so believable. Like, every time she was high, we believed it. Every time she was happy, we believed it. But it was a subtle, like, Zendaya is Rue. Zendaya is a drug addict. This season, to me personally, you might feel differently. I feel like she might be doing a little bit of overacting. A tiny bit. If you look at her facial expressions, if you look at the difference from last, because I saw season one a second time, and it was just, again, a chill, subdued, really believable thing. This time she's doing a lot more like crazy-eyed and breaking the third wall or fourth wall, however you say it. And to me, it feels a little forced. I think that because of how good she is at what she does, she will probably at the very least be nominated again. But I feel like maybe she's like her acting is kind of taking me out of the moment a little bit. I'm like, wow, she's doing really good. But is this Rue? Is this the Rue from last season?
Could it also be that there are so many other good characters involved now? Because season one revolved mostly around her, and there was a lot of just kind of we were focused on her. Now there's so many other players in on the field that it's like, there's a lot of competition.
I guess you would kind of have to pick up.
Yeah. But I think I agree with you. I agree with you. And the reason why I say I think is because I've noticed it, but I hadn't thought about it. So now I'm gonna keep my eye out, and maybe we can talk about this next week when we watch the fourth episode.
I feel like I really like this Rue. If she had done this last season, I would have even acknowledged her win much more because I'm like, yeah, she's really good. But it's just a big difference, so it kind of feels like she's trying a little too hard, like a tiny bit too hard. I'm sure on the second watch, once I get adjusted to this Rue, whenever I rewatch this whole season, it's going to feel natural. It's going to feel normal because I'm already exposed to it. Know what to expect.
Right.
But it does take me out of the moment sometimes when she has this like crazy eyed or like a little bit of a bigger smile, a little bit of a bigger sadness kind of thing. Yeah. So don't cancel me, guys. It's just an opinion.
Please don't. We're just starting out. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Keep your eyes out for more content. We will probably be trying to put up more, like we always say we will, but we definitely will. So thank you for watching.
Bye, guys. See ya next time.
Bye.
Next week.
Next time. Next week.